Dad's, Dad's letter made me angry. I was looking for sympathy, not instruction. I was so mad that I decided then and there that I would never go home. That night, as I was walking down one of the side streets of Miami, I came to church where services were going on, having no place to go. I drifted in and listened to the sermon on the text. He who he who conquered his spirit is mightier than he was taketh. He who conquered his spirit is mightier than he who taketh a city. Sitting on the sanity, sitting on the sanity of the house of God, and hearing the same thought, it thought that my dad had written in his letter, all the swift of accumulated litter out of my brain. I was able to think clearly and sensibly for the first time in my life. I realized what a fool I had been. I was shocked to see myself in my true light. Here I was wanting to change the whole world and everyone in it, when the only thing that needed changing was the focus on the lens of the camera, which was my mind. The next morning I packed and started home. A week later I was back on the job. 4 months later I married a girl I had been afraid of losing. We now have a happy family of 5 children. God has been good to me both materially and mentally. At the time of breakdown, I was a night foreman of a small department handling 18 people. I am now superintendent of cartoon manufacturer in the Carnegie charge manufacturer in charge of over 450 people. Life is much fuller and friendlier. I believe I appreciate the true value of life now. When a moment is uneasiness, when a moment of uneasiness try to creep in, as they will everyone as they will in everyone's life. I tell myself to get the camera back in focus and everything is okay. I can honestly say that I am glad I had a breakdown, because I found out that hard way what power our thought can have over our mind and our body. Now I can make my thought work for me instead of against me. I can see now that my dad was right when he said it was not outward situation that had caused all my suffering, but what I thought of those situations. And as soon as I realized that I was cured and stay cured, such was an experience of Frank G. Wale. Frank G. Wale. I am deeply convinced that our peace of mind and the joy we got out of living depend not where we are, or what we have, or what we are, but slowly upon our mental attitude. Outward conditions have very little to do with it. For example, let's take the case of old John Brown, who was hanged for seizing the United States Arsenal at a Ham Ferry and trying to incite the slave of rebellion. He rode away to the gallows sitting on his coffin. The jailer who rode beside him was nervous and worried, but old John Brown was calm and cool, looking up to the blue-ridged mountain of Virginia. He exclaimed, "What a beautiful country! Never had an opportunity to really see it before." Or take the case of Robert Falcon Scott and his companion, the first Englishman ever to reach the South Pole. Their return trip was probably the cruelest journey ever undertaken by man. Their food was gone and so was their fuel. They could no longer march because a whirling blizzard rolled down over the rim of the earth for 11 days and night. so fierce and sharp that it caught ridges in the polar ice. Scott and his companies knew they were going to die, and they had brought a quantity of opium along for just such an emergency. A big dose of opium, and they could all lie down to pleasant dream, never to wake again. But they ignored the drug and died, singing, 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 ringing songs to cheer. We know they did because a farewell letter found with their frozen bodies by the searching parties 8 months later. Singing, ringing song to cheer. We know they did because of farewell letter found with their frozen bodies by the searching party 8 months later. Yes, if we cherish creative thought of creative thought of courage and calmness, we can enjoy the century while sitting on our coffin, riding to the gallows, or we can fill our tent with a ringing song of cheer while starving at the freezing hour to death. Milton, in his blindness, discovered that same truth 300 years ago. The mind and its own place and itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. The mind is its own place and its itself. Sorry, the mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. Napoleon and Helen Keller are perfect illustration of Milton's statement. Napoleon had everything men usually crave: glory, power, richness. Yet he said at Saint Helena, I have never known 6 happy days in my life, while Helen Keller, blind, deep, dumb, declared, I have found life so beautiful. If if half a century of living has taught me anything at all, it has taught me nothing can bring you peace, nothing can bring you peace but yourself. I am merely trying to repeat that Emerson said so well in the closing word of his essay of self-reliance, a political victory, or rise in a rents, the recovery of your sick, or the return of your absent friend, or some other quite external event raise your spirit and you think good days are preparing for you. Do not believe it. It can never be so. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. I am merely trying to repeat what Emerson said so well in closing word of his essay, Self-Reliance, a political victory, a rise in a rent, the recovery of your sick, or the return of your absent friend, or some other quite external event raises your spirit, and you think good days are preparing for you. Do not believe it. It can never be so. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, warned that we ought to be more concerned about removing wrong thought from the mind than about removing the tumor and abscesses from the body. Epictetus said that 19th century ago, but modern medicine would back him up. Dr. G. Canby Robinson declared that 4 out of 5 patients admitted to Johns Hopkins Hospital were suffering from condition brought on in parts of emotional strain and stresses. This was often true even in case of organic distribution. Eventually, he declared this track back to the maladjustment to life and its problem. Montaigne, the great French philosopher, adopted this 17 word as a motto of his life. A man is not a man is not hurt so much by what happened as by his opinion of what happened, and our opinion of the what happened is entirely up to us. It's entirely up to us. Listen again. A man is not hurt so much by what happened as by his opinion of what happened.